rumors are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Bit earlier at about 7 a.m., a group from the Coast Guard. Welcome to #P8Vote 2013.
Today on Rappler, the Washington Post reports the U.S. National Security Agency is tracking phones worldwide.
Dun sa Constitution yon, na it will be for the benefit of both countries, beneficial to both countries.
The Philippines will insist on equal access to U.S. facilities in a military bases deal. And a military official says at least 17 hostages are still held by the Abu Sayyaf. Hello, I'm Carol Ramoran, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Washington Post reports the U.S. National Security Agency, or NSA, is collecting billions of records on the location of mobile phones around the world. Citing documents from U.S. intelligence leaker Edward Snowden, the Post says the information is added to a gigantic database showing the locations of, quote, at least hundreds of millions of cell phones. The data is scooped up by tapping into cables linking mobile phone networks across the globe. The location data is pulled in with the help of two unnamed corporate firms. The paper says the geolocation project appears to represent the NSA's largest surveillance program in scale and scope. Although majority of mobile phone users are of no interest to the spy agency, the NSA gathers the bulk data in a bid to track known intelligence targets. U.S. officials tell the Post the surveillance programs that contact geolocation data are legal and designed only to gather intelligence about threats to the U.S. Civil liberties groups raise concerns the NSA spying poses a serious threat to privacy rights in the United States and abroad. Jordanian reporter Baker Atiani walks free Wednesday, 18 months after he was abducted by Islamic militants. Atiani, a reporter of the Pan-Arab Al Arabiya news channel, was found by a police patrol on the island of Jolo. He was brought to a government hospital for a medical checkup. Chief Inspector Chris Gutierrez says the police patrol did not see any of Atiani's kidnappers. In June 2012, Atiani and two Filipino crew members went missing in Jolo, a stronghold of the Abu Sayyaf group. In February, the militants released the two crew members. In a statement, the Dubai-based broadcaster Al Arabiya says Atiani was handed over to the Filipino authorities by the kidnappers. The network adds Filipino authorities are now responsible for ensuring his safe return to his family in Jordan. Sulu's 2nd Marine Brigade Commander Colonel Jose Senabre says the Abu Sayyaf group is still holding at least 17 hostages in Sulu. 8 of them were kidnapped in Sulu, but Senabre says 4 of them willingly joined the group. The rest were kidnapped in other provinces. Defense Secretary Voltaire Gazmin says he and Interior Secretary Mar Rojas are planning to go to Sulu to convene the Peace and Order Council and check on the direction of operations against the Abu Sayyaf. Among some of the group's hostages are Filipino Muslim filmmakers Najua and Linda Bansil, abducted in June 2013. Birdwatchers Ewald Heron and Lorenzo Vinciguerra, kidnapped in February 2012, and Toshio Ito, kidnapped in July 2010. Defense Secretary Voltaire Gazmin says the Philippines will press the United States to give Filipino troops equal access to facilities that the U.S. will be allowed to build in the Philippine military bases. The two panels resumed negotiations earlier this week in the U.S. to draft an agreement that will allow more U.S. troops in the Philippines and give them greater access to military bases. During a difficult round in October, access and security issues were points the two sides could not resolve. Gazmin says he is confident the U.S. will agree to the Philippines' condition.
Ang ating instruction is that it is in accordance with our Constitution, no permanent basis, dun sa Constitution yon, na it will be for the benefit of both countries, beneficial to both countries.
Gazmin says he does not expect the talks to be finished soon. The Philippines sought the assistance of the U.S. in the wake of China's aggressiveness in the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea. Myanmar opens up to Filipino tourists after the former military junta signed a historic deal with the Philippines. Filipinos now have visa-free access to Myanmar for up to 14 days. This comes during the state visit of to the Philippines of Myanmar President Thein Sein. Myanmar has long implemented one of the most stringent visa rules in the region. It is now easing its visa requirement while on a democratic transition. In a speech, Thein Sein says ties between the Philippines and Myanmar have been, quote, growing not only bilaterally, but also in the regional and international fora. The visa exemption deal is seen to boost tourism in Myanmar, a country full of tourist attractions, but struggling to lure more visitors. During Thein Sein's state visit, the two countries also signed deals on cooperation on trade and investments, agreement on food security and agriculture, agreement on renewable energy, and agreement on information cooperation. The administration is looking at the United States Disaster Response Agency for lessons in creating a permanent structure for the Philippines. Senate President Franklin Drilon says this is one of the topics he discussed with U.S. Ambassador to Manila Philip Goldberg. Drilon and Goldberg discussed rehabilitation efforts in the aftermath of Super Typhoon Yolanda, known internationally as Haiyan, the world's most powerful typhoon that killed 5,759 as of Thursday. It left thousands homeless and flattened towns and cities in eastern Visayas. Drilon says the government needs a more permanent body than the Ad Hoc National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, which is under the Defense Department. Drilon says the Philippines is looking at the structure of the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. FEMA coordinates efforts to prepare for and protect against all hazards. After Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, FEMA drew criticism for confusion over the roles and responsibilities of officials. Drilon says the government is looking at good practices that can be adopted in the Philippines. He adds the lack of permanent structure prompted President Benigno Aquino to appoint former Senator Ping Lacson as rehabilitation czar. But senators say Lacson's role is limited to coordinating recovery efforts. Drilon's statement comes after Senators Grace Poe and Alan Peter Cayetano filed bills and resolutions calling for the creation of a separate department to replace the NDRRMC. Cayetano says when the disaster reaches a certain level of devastation, we need one agency for rehabilitation and reconstruction, or redevelopment authority, or commission or cooperation in charge. With controversies surrounding the pork barrel and the President's Disbursement Acceleration Program, the national budget is under intense scrutiny. A commission and audit report shows at least 6.156 billion was allegedly siphoned by lawmakers through fake NGOs in the pork barrel scam. The magnitude of the scam provoked public outrage and highlighted the question of accountability. COA Chair Grace Pulido-Tan and Budget Undersecretary Richard Moya say accountability for public funds is a responsibility shared by the public and private sectors. Last month, the Supreme Court declared the pork barrel unconstitutional. Tan says she feels humbled that her agency's report played a part in the Supreme Court's decision.
Reopening, because this time there is that PDAF report of the Commission on Audit that really documented the abuses.
Yes.
And not only the abuses, but also the big question mark, so where did all that money go? And providentially, the whistleblowers came to the surface, and everything just melded.
Yes.
So that gave the Supreme Court another the opportunity to take a really good look.
To jump.
And because of what they found out, and of course I feel very humbled that the Commission is very instrumental in this. I mean, we're happy that the check and balance in government has been restored.
The pork barrel, in different shapes and forms, has been in place decades before the scam controversy erupted. Responding to questions that the pork barrel is institutional corruption, Moya says the fund has also helped real beneficiaries.
First, I think it is institutional. Whether it's institutional corruption or not, I think there's no absolute answer to that. I think you have to nuance that. I am fairly certain that we can go around the country and find people that genuinely benefited from PDAF. And we have several number of congressmen that genuinely use it for scholarship, genuinely use it for farm-to-market roads, genuinely use it for irrigation and those things. So I think the question then is, at what point does it become more a patronage institution rather than a... I think the Supreme Court has acknowledged at this point that by and large, the non-benefits we're getting from this structure far outweighs the benefits that we're getting from the structure. Hence
The Sandigan Bayan issues an arrest warrant for officials involved in the implementation of the controversial Kedang Core Swine Program, or QSP. Former Agriculture Secretary Luis Ramon Lorenzo Jr. and 3 other officials of the Kedan and Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation, or Kedan Core, are named in the warrant. The QSP is a credit program for swine raisers, lending them supplies. During the Arroyo administration, then Senator Panfilo Lacson led a probe into the allegations QSP funds were diverted for Arroyo's 2004 presidential campaign. The Office of the Ombudsman discovered Kedang Core awarded purchase contracts worth more than 48.6 million pesos to a company called Metro Livestock Incorporated without the required public bidding. Metro Livestock Incorporated failed to deliver supplies amounting to at least 47 million pesos. Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales filed graft charges on July 12 against Lorenzo and the officials of Kedan Core and Metro Livestock Incorporated. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 2, human rights group Amnesty International says North Korea has not scaled back its labor camp system. The group releases satellite images showing new housing blocks and production facilities at 2 of the country's largest camps for political prisoners. Amnesty International says up to 200,000 prisoners, including children, are being held in, quote, horrific conditions in 6 political prison camps. At number 3, Mexican authorities find a stolen truck carrying a teletherapy machine containing dangerous radioactive material. Military and police forces cordon off the spot located north of Mexico City to prevent contamination. The truck was supposed to deliver the material to a radioactive waste disposal facility. The International Atomic Energy Agency warns the material is extremely dangerous if removed from its shielding. Experts say the 60 grams of cobalt-60 inside it is enough to make a dirty bomb. And at number 6, a 400,000-year-old thigh bone found in the pit in Spain holds the key to the oldest known human DNA. The thigh bone was extracted from what looked like a burial site known as Cima de los Huesos, or Pit of Bones, in Spain's northern Sierra de Atapuerca highlands. The findings suggest man's evolution may have been more convoluted than thought. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. A Philippine court on Thursday slaps a gag order on boxer Manny Pacquiao and the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, as they fight over his allegedly unpaid taxes worth millions of dollars. The tax appeals court orders both sides not to make public comments on the dispute during a hearing about the BIR's allegations that Pacquiao owes $50 million or 2.2 billion pesos in unpaid taxes in 2008 and 2009. An internal revenue lawyer says the order followed a joint motion by both parties. The court postponed the next hearing to January 16. The BIR ordered Pacquiao's bank deposits frozen, forcing him to borrow money to pay his staff. Pacquiao says he paid taxes in the United States on earnings from his fights there, but BIR Chief Kim Henares says only 2 bank accounts are frozen. Henares says the Bureau gave Pacquiao enough leeway to pay his back taxes, but he has not complied.
In this period of transition where you're...
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. Let's take a look at the mood navigator. Here on the left, we have two stories that made our readers angry. One is about Senator Enrile saying that his chief of staff, Gigi Reyes, is innocent in the pork barrel scam. And the other is our top story for today, the NSA tracking phone locations. However, most people seem to be in a good mood today, as we still have people that are amused with Senator Miriam's privileged speech yesterday. And on the article wherein Miriam called Enrile a liar, a womanizer, and king of corrupt politics. And the top story for today is how you can find out if your Facebook friends hate you, with 11% who voted annoyed, 16% voted don't care, and 49% who voted amused. All contributing to the mood of the day. Today, most people are amused. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Thursday, December 5, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Carol Ramoran, and as we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.